Well, good evening and happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome to DWIT3D Canada. I am Tim. I am your host with the most at Live at 5. So hello and welcome. Let's see who's here. We're going to switch over to here. Let's see who's on. Who is on? Richard McLean, you are first. Wow. What happened to Jose? He's usually here. Jose is usually first. Richard, you beat him. Hello from Las Vegas, Richard. Hello from Calgary, Will. You think KAMP is now integrated with Klipper? I am not wrong. I just do add bed mesh calibrate adaptive. Oh, okay. So it's integrated with it now, is it, with Klipper? That's good. It should be. But I'll show you how I set mine up. And I guess if it's integrated with Klipper, then thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good night, and we'll see you guys next one. Yeah, there we go. So Brent Ferguson from Texas. Hello, hello, hello. Hope you all have your drinks with you. Straight Pepsi Zero. That's all there is to it. We only have 3 people on so far. It looks like Will, Brent, and Richard. Somebody else streaming tonight, or is this thing on? Hello, hello. Anyways, so what we're doing is I've got everything all set up. We did print after last week's settings and tunings, et cetera, we were able to actually successfully print a nice 250% Cali Dragon. I think he turned out not too bad, all things considered. We have a few little, issues with the overhangs and stuff, but this is not the easiest print to print without supports. So this is doing pretty good. Shadell, hello, and Andrew Humphrey, hello. Camera looks a lot better. Thank you. Yeah, last week was almost embarrassing with what happened. So we've gone and switched things up again, and quality should be a heck of a lot better this week. So we placed a different camera here. So basically what I did is I switched this camera with this camera. And the reason I did that is because this camera right there, I never have to zoom in on or focus or anything with. It's just the fixed focused, and it stays here, and it's basically the overall type of studio look. Whereas this camera, I can, if I choose, take a model, and actually it needs a background, but I can take a model and actually zoom in and focus on it, which is really nice for showing things off. So, but really it's almost redundant because I've got this one, which does pretty much the same thing. So although, so we have a few different options now with these things going on. So like number 2. Hey, 3D Medic Vince, hello, hello. And Project and Dad's Garage, Shadell. Oh, we have everybody popping in. So I'm going to show you guys. Let me just grab a little bit of snot off this nozzle here first. I have OCD when it comes to snotty nozzles. And maybe it's just me, but oh, come on. Why aren't you coming off? There you are. Snotty nozzles, what a topic. Anyways, I'm going to show you guys how I went and set up KAMP. I'd never really heard much about KAMP until somebody mentioned it on this stream, and then it came up again. And it makes a lot of sense for a bed this size. It really does. Yes, I've got the beacon probe on here. And yes, the beacon probe scans the whole bed mesh extremely fast. But theoretically, you're wasting a minute amount of time, or you're wasting time when you're only printing on a certain portion of the bed. So KAMP just made sense. KAMP is now baked into Klipper. Okay, that's what I thought. So then, great gamer name, Snotty Nozzle. I should name my channel Snotty Nozzle. Snotty Nozzle Canada. What do you think? So if KAMP is already baked into Klipper, and if it's going to be in all the updates of Klipper as you go, then the stream's done. Well, I guess I can show you Exclude Object. But then again, if KAMP is baked into Klipper, then Exclude Object is going to be baked into Klipper. Or we can do another test print. But anyways, I'm going to walk you through really quick what I did for KAMP. It's campy now. Campy. Oh, man, I'm so behind the times. But anyways, okay, well, there goes my notes for today. KAMP built into Klipper. So much for that. Let's see, anything else that I can throw out that nobody needs to know now? If if it's built into Klipper, and well, some people might know what KAMP is, but basically what KAMP does is it does adaptive bed meshing only in the area that you're going to use your bed. So if I'm printing this in the middle of my bed, wherever I place this in my bed, if I place it on the top right corner of my bed, it's only going to do the bed meshing in the top right corner of the bed in the area. And then you can also set boundaries and perimeters for it. So I'll show you a couple things anyways that, that are kind of cool. So if we go back into the display here, whoa, that always freaks me out when I do that. So we go back into RatOS here. First of all, I got the instructions for KAMP here on GitHub, and I did put a link in the description to this. And it talks about Klipper adaptive meshing and purging. So it has meshing and purging. I haven't played with the adaptive purging yet. We just did the adaptive meshing. And of course, one of the first things it says for the installation of the adaptive meshing is that you need to have, and it mentions it up here somewhere, right here, you'll need exclude object defined in printer config. And to define exclude object in printer config is pretty simple. Let me pop the chat out here, and this is gonna freak you out again. Whoa, dude, why are you doing that? He says, and I go over here, this will even be a duder. Let me pop out chat. That way I can see who's talking while I'm on a different screen talking. So let's get back over to RatOS. And let's go ahead and, why did I do that? Why do you do the things you do? The way you do the things you do. There we are, it's KAMPing now. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, nobody said anything since. Okay, cool. So as I say on here, you do need to enable exclude object, which is really, really simple. If you're running RatOS, RatOS was just a little bit trickier. So in RatOS, I did go ahead and in the printer config portion of it, hopefully y'all can see this. If it's big enough, if you're on a smartphone, maybe not, maybe not. But anyways, way down at the bottom, they have a section here specifically called user overrides. So this is where we have done the exclude object and the include KAMP settings CFG. So if KAMP is going to be built into Klipper, this may be redundant, but what the heck, if you're running a version of Klipper that doesn't have it, this will be maybe helpful. So when you go over here for installing it, they talk about SSHing into your Klipper device. So in other words, I use PuTTY, and you just run a command line. You run one command line here to SSH into it, which is going to put KAMP basically into your, it'll put a config file into your Klipper, which you just saw. And then you just go into Moonraker and you do a little bit of an update. You just put a copy and paste this into your Moonraker config, and you're basically good to go. And then of course you have to have the include KAMP settings.config in your printer config file like I just showed you, okay? And then it talks all about adaptive meshing. Adaptive purging, I'm not 100% sure what that does, but that does with KAMP, and then Smart Park. So those are a few things that you can enable in KAMP. And I just don't know exactly what, why does anybody do anything, love or money? Well, this is love. Trust me, I'm not making money doing this. That's why you see I've included KAMP settings.cfg, and I've got exclude object. So if I go back up, okay, you'll notice what happens when you do that little script in your MMU. It brings in this file called KAMP settings CFG. And in KAMP settings CFG here's where you can enable one of four things or all four things. Okay, so we have, this is the one that I had enabled, adaptive meshing config. Okay, and then you can enable purge, line purge if you want, Voron purge, and Smart Park. I don't know what these last three are. I haven't looked into them much because I was mostly interested in the adaptive meshing. Okay, so that's all I had to do was go in there and uncomment out the adaptive meshing on that one. Okay, I think you can kind of see it. My picture might be in the way a little bit there. If I move that over to this side, it's a little more easy to see it up here. So we have include adaptive meshing config right here. So and in here is where we can go and set our parameters. So for instance, there's two settings we can do for adaptive meshing. The following variables are for adjusting adaptive mesh settings for KAMP. So variable mesh margin. So basically what I've done is I've said, okay, when you're doing the adaptive bed meshing in the area that I'm going to be printing in, I want you to scan 20 millimeters all around outside. And that's just to, and I can set that number for whatever I want. I can leave it at 0 if I just want it to do specifically where the print is going. And then variable fuzz amount. This I left because I didn't understand. Slightly randomizes mesh points to spread out wear from nozzle-based probes. I don't have a nozzle-based probe, so I assumed this didn't refer to me. So I left that at 0. So yes. Anyways, that's sort of the setting. That's as simple as I went into the KAMP settings was that. I may play around eventually with the line purging, and when I get this on the Vorons, I'll maybe play with the Voron purge and Smart Park. Well, it looks like Smart Park include to enable the Smart Park function, which parks the print head near the print area for final heating. That might be okay, but mine prints a purge line anyway. So we close off that part, and then, as I said, in Moonraker config, which is a user editable document. You can tell that because it says save and restart. A lot of these configuration and conf and CFGs don't have a save and restart because you're not supposed to touch them. But in here, basically what I did in here is I copied. Okay, now this is where I got a little bit tricky, because in here it tells you to cut and paste this line, update manager Klipper adaptive meshing purging, into your Moonraker config file. Now on here, right there, that's where I pasted that in right there. Okay, so, and that was pretty simple. So that whole area got pasted in the Moonraker config, save and restart. You don't use Smart Park or Smart Purge because you don't like your machine making its own choices. I want to do what it tells me, what I tell it to do, and how I tell it to do it. There you go. See, I don't think I'm going to need either one of those things either. So, because those are things that we can also set in macros as well. So now, while we're in here, okay, while we're in there, I'm just going to show you what we had to do to exclude object. So there's 2 things you have to do in exclude object, and then 1 thing you have to do in your slicer. So in exclude object, you have to have exclude object defined in your printer config. So basically you add that little line right there. So bracket exclude object, bracket, define it in your printer config, and then in the Moonraker config file, which we're in, you have to basically say file manager enable object processing true. So as you'll see in here, that is the other thing that I added right there, was I added that line here to enable exclude object, which you needed to have KAMP running. So that was enabled in there. And then if we go back out to the printer config, as I said, down in the user modification area, doesn't matter where you put things in here, but they have an area for it, so I know exactly where to go. So that's where I put the exclude object, and that's where I put the include KAMP settings config in there. So that was about it. Now RatRig had its own, anything in your printer config, from what I've learned, it overrides any other settings that it's told to do, because in RatOS, if I go to Moonraker config, I could not, file manager enable object processing was false, but I can't change this. As you see, I can't save this. I could type whatever I want in there, but it's not going to save it. See, as soon as I close out of here, and go back in there, it's back to what it was. So I'm not able to change that. So it had it set at false, which at first I thought, well, how am I going to get that to true? Well, anything you add in your printer config overrides what this is saying. These are just your standard functions that RatRig is setting up for their particular configuration, your base configuration, I guess, if you want to call it. So yeah, the machines are taking over. Yes, they are. I agree. So with that said, I can move this chat out of the way. So with that said, that's basically all I did, was set up the exclude object, which I think is a great feature to have anyways. And it's just a matter of adding that 1 line, and then adding the 1 line in your config, your Moonraker CONF file. I think exclude object is something everybody should have anyways. RatOS is too organized. Yeah, they tried to do that to keep it easy, but it gets confusing sometimes. But the more I'm playing with it and the more I'm using it, the easier it's getting to understand. So I'm going to put this camera on instead. Yeah, exactly. Is that not true, Richard? So that's where we're at with that. So with that all said and done, I've just unloaded filament. I'm going to load some new filament in, and I'm going to show you the whole. Oh, let's back up just 1 second. I did get a email back from the Beacon Probe folks, and the email basically said to me that the error I was getting when I tried to run the Beacon Probe for my resonance testing for doing input shaping, I was getting that error saying ADXL 345, blah, 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 whatever that error was. I could duplicate it again, but I'm not going to bother. So that's why we ended up putting the other ADXL on here, the exterior one. Now, the Beacon folks, which makes perfect sense, said that the ADXL error is not coming from their probe because they're not using ADXL 345. They're using a different internal probe that has nothing to do with ADXL. So basically what they said is there's something in my config file somewhere that is trying to trigger an ADXL sensor, and it is overriding the Beacon probe sensor, and that could be it. And they said if I want to send my Clippy log file, they could help me find what's going on. So I went ahead through all my configs. I looked through every possible config that this thing could config, and I disabled anything to do with ADXL 345, and it's still throwing the same error. So I think what I will do is I'll send them that Clippy log file and see if they can maybe help me determine what's causing it, because their probe is working beautifully except for the input shaping, and I just can't not get that error to come up. So that's where we're at. So that, but it's real simple. It was a real simple 30-minute task to wire up an ADXL and put it in, as we did last week. We put the ADXL into the main board, and we did get input shaping, so that's all set up on this. So we've done basically all the basic tuning we can do. So that's kind of where we're at here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to load some new filament, and we're going to go ahead and load some more filament and try a test print or two here. So I'm going to click the load filament button. Here we go. And we'll go from there. We'll just run a little test print, and I'll show you how the adaptive meshing works with now the KAMP is enabled. And I know that was a lot to take in. So good on you if you're still with me. Hey, Kenneth 3D Prints. What are we saying there? So I'm going to open up a brand new roll. I want to try this one. We're going to open up a roll of this Polylite PLA, and it is the how do you want to say that? Aubergine Silk Lime Magenta. And we'll print us a little small Cali Dragon to do that. Now, one thing, if you add adaptive meshing or KAMP to KAMP, and if you add Exclude Object, you need to reslice any model, because any model that's been sliced prior to that will not affect those settings. So we're going to open up a brand new roll here of the Polymaker dual color filament. Do not open from this side. I always do that too. I cut it open and I go, oops, they didn't want me to open it from this side. So let's go ahead and get a print started here after we load the filament. Come on. I need to sharpen my knife. Looks like I chewed that open. Hey, Nick. Oh, look at that. That is sweet looking. That's beautiful looking filament, magenta and gold. Woohoo! Cool. Okay, we're going to pop this up. This is the best view here. I have a filament rack above the printer for now. A printer this tall, it's kind of hard to get a filament mounting system that you can be happy with. So we just got this one above here with all this other filament. So we'll go ahead and pull this down. Of course, my snippers are way out of reach. There we go. pop this into the hot end. Come on, get in there. There we go. And we'll go ahead and use the load filament feature that's in the RatOS Moonraker thing here. So we'll go back over to our here, and we will use the load filament feature, which is going to heat me up to 220, but I'm going to heat the bed up while we're going here as well. So we'll get the bed heated up at the same time here. Ah! Chewed open. What is this, a RatRig? Yeah, no, good one. Good one. Okay, so we're purging filament now. That hot end heated up actually quite fast. Actually, I probably didn't cool it down from when I removed the filament, so. Okay. And we are loaded. We are loaded and stringy. Oh my goodness. Whew. Spider webs. Holy cow. Oh man, look at this. Okay, oh, come on, get off my hand. Okay, good. Whew. It's like walking into a spider web sometimes. Okay, let's find, oh, and then I'm going to show you the other thing that needs to be set when you're doing the exclude object setting. So if we go over here to the slicer, under your print settings on your slicer, you have to have under output options, you need to have label objects. So it comes by default disabled in Prusa Slicer, at least. I'm not sure about Super Slicer or any of the other ones, but in here, I just set it to Octo print comments. I'm not sure what firmware specific does, but Octo print comments works fine. And basically what that does is that it tells the printer that I have several objects, and it'll also allow you to go into Klipper and modify those several objects. In other words, exclude ones that if you have an object, you know, it's great, especially on a 500 millimeter bed. If you have an object that is failing out of, and you're running 20 things up and one's failing partway through the print, you don't want to ruin your whole 20 prints. So you can exclude that one object that is failing. So there is our Kali Dragon. What scale did I do this one at? I'm not sure. He's not quite 100%, but let's see it. But I think I need to put some infill in him because I believe my infill was at 0. Yeah, so we're going to give him, we'll give him 15% infill. And we'll give him gyroid infill. And let's see, layers and perimeters. He's going to have 3 perimeters, 5 top, 5 bottom is fine. And my filament settings are 215 and 65. We are fine with that. And we're going to slice them again. But just to show you the adaptive meshing, and what KAMP did is detected print stability. I know it wants supports in some parts of this, but I don't want to put supports in it. But if I move him, say, over to this part of the bed, let's move him to this part of the bed. And what's going to happen is when we do our mesh leveling, bed mesh, it's going to only mesh in this one part of the bed instead of meshing everywhere else where there's nothing else to be printed. And then it's really helpful, especially on a bed of this size, a 500 millimeter bed, because if you saw my bed mapping, which I'll show you in a minute, let's go ahead and slice now for now. And let's just go ahead and send the G code. We'll just upload it instead of printing it right away. So that is uploaded to the slicer. So here we go. So if you saw my height map on the bed mesh, well, let's go ahead and calibrate it, and I'll show you what the height map looks like right now on a 500 millimeter bed. It's not perfect. So let's go ahead and calibrate. And what this is going to do is this is going to go ahead and it's going to home my printer. And it's going to basically, oh, so it's only calibrating now. It's only calibrating on the area where the print is as well. That's quite interesting. Huh. Even though, how does it know what print I was going to send to it? It calibrated just in the middle. Oh, that's because that's the last print I did. Okay, well, but just for fun anyways, we're going to show you. So that's basically the only area that did the mesh on, and it's pretty. So it's pretty awful as it is right there, as you can see the actual calibration right there that it did on that little area. But mind you, we're only off by 0.1 millimeter, 0.2. The range is 0.2 millimeter, 0.2 of a millimeter. The whole bed, when I do calibrate the whole bed, it's like a ski slope. It's like you could ski down it. But a 500 millimeter bed, I don't know if it's even possible to get it exactly flat. So that's why it's good to just calibrate in the area that you're going to print, because you're going to have more of an accurate first layer base for that print. At least that's the way I look at it. So we'll go ahead now and we will, oh, that's because I didn't clear that last time. That's why. So let's clear this out. Okay, let's see if I do that calibrate again. It may actually do the entire bed this time. Let's just try this and see. Let's see what this does. Yeah, it is. Okay, there we go. So if I go to my floor camera, you'll see it's going to calibrate the entire bed this time, because I hadn't cleared that previous print out of its system. That's why it only calibrated that small area. The whole bed is tacoed or tilted. Yeah, it's not. This bed is not perfect. I'll tell you that for sure. Don't have to install full KAMP. Okay, well that's, you know, again, that kind of makes this stream irrelevant, but hey, oh well. Now let me turn some light on up here so you can actually see what's going on. There we go. So it's calibrating the whole bed. Woo, close up. There we go. So now if we go ahead and look at the height map, there we go. So look at my bed is tacoed and then some. So we have a range of 1.278 millimeters. So there, either my frame is way out of whack or something. But I have printed an almost full bed print, and it still turned out pretty good. It's not that big a deal, but that's why the mesh leveling prior to printing helped fix that. And the big print I did do, which was a 12-inch by 18-inch frame, printed beautifully. So, but yeah, my bed is far, far, far from perfect, which is great for this adaptive mesh calibration in KAMP, because it's not, it doesn't care. It's only going to calibrate the portion of the bed that I need to use. So yeah, that is disgustingly awful. I can tell you that. So let's go ahead and get this guy going. So we're going to start that print. Do I really want to start it? Yes, I do really want to start it. So my bed's warmed up, so we should be pretty quick to start this print now. So let's go ahead and go to the floor camera, and we can watch this thing go. About the same as a K1 220 millimeter. Seriously, Zombie? Hey, Zombie Hedgehog, I didn't see you come in. Hello. So, yeah, so I've got this. Can I zoom out anymore with this camera? Let's just see. I'm having a hard time getting good light up top. This printer is so tall. Can I zoom out? Let's see. Oh, I can zoom out a little bit more for you. There we go. Whoa. So this is going to start out any second now. It's just lowering the temperature to 150 to do the probing, so I don't have any nozzle oozing. Snotty nozzle. I like that name for a channel, the Snotty Nozzle 3D. Anyways, here we go. So we're going to home first. And this print's going to start. And we'll see how, well, this will just give you an idea of what KAMP is going to do for you. Everybody knows already I'm late to the game, because I didn't even know it was going to be built into Klipper now. So, hey, what do I know? You send me my BL Touch. This thing initially had a BL Touch on it, Will. Can you imagine how long it took to do a bed mesh with a BL Touch on this? The corner picture in picture is a still frame. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Why is that? Oh, you know why? Because I like the still frame. Let's get rid of it. And let's add a different one. Let's add this one. Hi. Now it's not a still frame, but it's not in the corner. Now let's move it up out of the way. There we go. That's what I get when I play with my cameras. So our Z-tilt adjust is finished. It only went around once for Z-tilt adjust. Now we're going to do our bed mesh, which you'll see is just going to be the portion of the bed where I put that print right over there. And it's going to mesh that bed, calibrate that mesh stupid fast. That's it. That's it, instead of doing the whole bed. Now we're going to warm up our nozzle and get ready to print. Let's see how we do. And I'll zoom in on that as soon as I get. You've been running adaptive meshing forever. It's great. Yeah, I'm new. As I say, Zombie, I'm late to the game, so this is exciting for me. Voron logo seems harder to remove from the bed. The purging in KAMP is awesome. I dare you to use the Voron logo for the purge on the RatRig. What's that? I don't know. Explain to me what that does, Nick. I don't get that. What's the purging in KAMP? What does it actually do? I will play with it. Hey, Sergio, how are you, sir? I'll try the, I'll definitely give that a try, the purging, but I'm not 100% sure what it does. So we're going to come up here and basically this is going to give me my purge line. It places your purge line directly next to your, oh, really? Well, then let's get this print going and then we'll try that. So let me zoom in on this print. I wonder if I can get this other camera up high enough for you. No, I think I'll just zoom in with this camera so we can zoom in on this print and see how we're looking. And it's going to get blurry for a second. Sorry. Just typical Canadian saying sorry all the time. There we go. I think that's in focus. It's pretty close to being in focus. It's not totally in focus. Oh, come on. It's getting there. Hey, non-fam. How are you, sir? If you have a normal purge line and purge, it will crash into the bed. Oh, okay. That's blurry. Come on. I should be able to focus a little better. There's not enough light in there. Can I lighten that up at all? Let's just see. Maybe a little bit. And can I get my light any closer? Let's see. And if I turn my light up to 100%, that might help lighten that up a little bit. And I got to get my Sony camera up here. It's going to be a much better view than this one. I'm having a hard time focusing. Well, not me in particular, but the camera doesn't want to seem to focus too well. There we are. Blame the camera, everybody says. How do I make the camera unfrozen? What happened is I had switched cameras. I had unplugged one camera and switched it with the other. But in OBS, if you do have a frozen camera for whatever reason, you can just go onto that cam, click deactivate. So in other words, if I go on to the camera you're looking at right there in the corner, or heck, even if I go on to the camera that's printing right now, which is my floor camera, and if I then I can go deactivate, which deactivates the camera, and then activate, and the camera comes back. I used to, before I knew a lot about these things, there's my overhead camera. I don't know why I switched to that one. Before I knew a lot about this, I used to reboot OBS to get my cameras to come back on until I discovered the deactivate and activate button. He's pulling my leg. Oh. Do I reboot or let it go? I don't know. Anyways, we're printing good. It looks good. We're purposely printing on that side of the bed in case you're wondering. So yeah, between the beacon probe and these cool little tips and tricks as far as KAMP and Exclude Object, etc., it's pretty cool. Now, I don't think, Now, so of course, because I've only got one object on my print bed, there's nothing in here about exclude object. But if I had multiple objects on my bed, up here under the printing menu, there would be a little box with an X in it. And you click that little box with the X, and it'll bring up a graphic of all your objects. You select which object you want to exclude, and it will exclude that object from printing, which is really cool. Let it go. Oh. Well, I didn't know he was, that Brent was like joking, Andrew. You never know. Makes you kind of hypersensitive to this kind of humor. Don't be hypersensitive to this kind of humor. Your humor is pretty good. Lame dad jokes. Okay, Brent, I get it now. I can be slow sometimes. Sometimes I forget who's on stream and who's talking. But I'm not gonna give up. I'm still gonna hopefully get the beacon probe 80XL. It's not an 80XL, but I'm hoping I can get the beacon probe working properly. It works, as I say, it works great for what it is, but you pay that extra $20 and you get the built-in 80XL. I just call it an 80XL, but you're getting a built-in accelerometer. It's just not an 80XL brand accelerometer, but hopefully I can get that working eventually as well. So thank you so much, Brent. It almost sounded like a serious question. I just thought maybe when you type go and let it go that you stuttered a bit and you had let it go and you had too many O's in your let it go. Well, this is running. I'm going to see if I can't. Let me see if I can't get this other camera. No, I can't get this other camera up high because, I know what I can do. I have a few little tripods around here. I have a few tripods in my garage. Sorry, that was a really lame joke to do with tripods garage. So if I sit this guy up like this, and if I put him on the table, that might just work. That might just work. You couldn't find any music, not emoji. That would have helped. Yeah, that would have helped for sure. Because then it would have been let it go, whatever. Let me move this guy. So let's see something. I've got my little close-up camera kind of nicely set up here. Now I need a ball head thingamajigger that's going to let this thing move. I wish these tripods had a screw in the bottom so that I could screw them to the tip of another tripod. Anyways. Tim's tripod time at DWIT3D Canada. I don't want to steal Tripod Garage's thunder at all. John's a good guy. But I couldn't resist saying I have a bunch of tripods in my garage. Okay, it's great when you print with dry filament too. It makes a huge difference. I'm looking for a ball joint. Looking for a joint from a ball. Okay, I did not say that. I don't think I have another ball joint adapter. Huh. Boy. I must have to get one, another one. I can't steal it from one of my other. I wonder if this has it in it. No, that doesn't have it either. Tripod and snazzy nozzles live at 5. Snotty nozzles. I should start a channel called Snotty Nozzles and see if it does any better than DWIT. Maybe I'll rebrand to Snotty. I can just imagine the graphic for Snotty Nozzles. Choke on my drink while I laugh at that. Okay, let's see if I can. That won't let me tilt that camera down. So, where are my other ball ends? I've got one ball end. I broke a ball end couple weeks ago. And if you guys are wondering what I mean by a ball end, it's the end of a tripod that allows me to tilt the camera on various angles. Just in case you're thinking something different. And I don't have, I swore I had another one. Oh, there's the other one. It's on that camera. Sounds like an awesome concert, Snotty Nozzle. Snotty Nozzle should team up with Zombies OnlyFans box. Okay, you guys are going to kill me here. Stop it. I'm going to, while you watch that and watch that blank in the upper corner screen here, I'm going to, if I steal this, if I steal the ball that's on this, and just leave this as a solid mount, I wonder if that'll work. So don't look at the top right of the screen. You're going to get dizzy. I'm warning you right now. Okay. Don't look at it. Don't look at it. Focus on the print. Focus on the print. Don't look up my nose. Come on, undo. Here we go. There's the ceiling. Okay. I think I can get away without a ball joint on this particular camera on the tripod. Let's see. I screw that back in like that. And then if I put that back kind of where it was, kind of like right about there. Let's see. Yeah, I think I can get away with that. No ball joint on there. Camera's still in good spot. There we go. Want to offer me a promotion of your channel viewers, followers, and chat, etc. The price is lower. So you want to buy me? I don't know if anybody can see this, but oh, that's why it's on Twitch. I'm on Twitch as well tonight. Somebody on Twitch wants to sell me some subscribers. Do I have any? Yeah, thank you, Stephen. I totally forgot that I am streaming on Twitch as well. I thought I'd try it. But somebody on Twitch is trying to sell me subscribers. I don't know if I have any moderators on Twitch that could just delete that for me, but it doesn't matter because my YouTubers don't see it anyways. Yeah, somebody on Twitch is trying to sell me subscribers. Thanks for the offer, but I don't like buying my subscribers. And yeah, and then Stephen Poole is on Twitch watching me. I totally forgot at the beginning of the stream to tell everybody that I am streaming on Twitch as well. Guess what, guys? I'm streaming on Twitch. Okay, now I got this almost going now here, so you're going to get an even better view of that print. Now I got this camera working. Look at that. Oh, I guess I could have just used my overhead camera mount, but that would be too easy. Let's tighten this up. Okay, now, here we go. Now I should be able to... Oh, look at that. There we go. Okay. Oh, look at this. Watch this. You ready for a ta-da moment? It's a scam. It is a scam anyway, Sergio. And I am not one of those channels that will buy subscribers. What good is it? You know, that's just ridiculous. I earn my audience. Now let's look at this camera. Boom. And if I zoom out a little bit, that's a better view and a much nicer picture. So what I've done, if you go to the main camera, is I just put this little Sony on a little tripod and aimed it down at the print. Pretty cool. Enhance, boom. Now, how far in can I zoom and maintain a clean looking image? Let's see. That's fully zoomed in. That's not bad. And then if I fully zoom out, There's my fully zoomy outie. There we go. Booyah. Plug nostrils. I use that methanol stuff in the blue jar. Or vodka. What? Oh, plug nozzles. Plug nostrils. Richard McLean. You guys confuse me sometimes with your comments, but that's okay. One thing I think that I need to do on this RatRig, now that I've got prints going, etc., I think I need to tighten my belts a little bit, because I do have a little bit of inconsistency in my layer lines, which sort of tells me that my belts are a little bit loose. So we'll see. And that frame is really rocking, as you know, because this is on a Lazy Susan right now, so it's not on the most stable surface. What happens is when this is done, I take the Lazy Susan off of this board. This board goes over to the table that was built for the RatRig, and the RatRig has a permanent home over there with a permanently mounted spool holder over there. So, yeah. Vodka won't work for butt plugged nostrils. What? What are you guys talking about? Thanks, 3D Medic Vince. You've submitted a report to Twitch about that account. Perfect. I'm not on Twitch at the moment, but I guess I could get over there and why is that? You're jumping focus. You know why you're jumping focus? Because you are trying to focus on this rail right here, aren't you? If I raise you a little bit, raise me up. If I raise you a little bit like that, and then tilt you down like that, there we go. So that's not an issue anymore, that rail. What I want to get is, I would love to find, and I'm sure there's one out there. So if you have a look at my little tripods, these are Manfrotto, which is really a well-known brand name. This one has a little button you push, and then you can move your head around any way you want. You release the button and it's locked in solid. I would love to get rid of the legs, get me a tripod threaded mount right here, and just have this as my ball head, so that instead of having to unscrew a screw to move my head around, all I do is push this button, move my camera the way I want it, and boom, Bob's your uncle. Now, there may be something out there like that I just don't know about. We're going to get us and Tim in trouble. You're confusing me, for one, to start. But that's okay. I confuse easy. You guys should know that by now. You're taking the hit when I read your responses, but you're blaming Andrew. I can understand that. You used to be dyslexic, but now you're KO. I like that. Well, you know me. I'd give my... anybody out here ambidextrous? Anybody on here ambidextrous? I'm right-handed. Which is, I think most of the population is right-handed, but there are some people that are ambidextrous. And you know what? I'd give my left arm to be ambidextrous. But boom. Cha-cham, boom. Yeah, this is kind of a boring stream because we're going to watch a print for now. But this is basically the last, and I put that in air quotes, the last stream for the RatRig. And then we're going to bring something else new to the bench. What I should do while we're still waiting for the Tri-Zero, St. Patrick's Day, you'll blame alcohol. Of course, if you're not wearing green, by the way, which I'm not, pinch yourself. Apparently, you're supposed to pinch yourself, be pinched. And I'm not wearing any green. I don't think my underwear are green. No, they're red. Too much information. That's looking pretty good so far. Looking good. For those of you just joining us, this is the RatRig V-Core 3.1R. There is an R in there because we did some R-rated modifications to it. No, not R-rated. We did some different modifications to the RatRig than out of the usual 3.1. And this is running a mosquito hot end with a Orbiter V2 extruder, and it is running a beacon probe. Project in Dad's Garage, what do you think of the RatRig compared to the other printers you have? I think it's just as good, Project in Dad's Garage. It's just as good as the Vorons, in my opinion. The main difference, of course, it's massive. It's 500 by 500 by 500. Now, yeah, it's just as good. Then I've got my bamboos, which are in a whole different ballpark. I don't like comparing. People ask me, do I like the Vorons or bamboo better? Well, you're going to get equally good prints on either printer. The bamboo is more of a plug and play for people who don't want to fiddle around like we've been doing with this, don't want to build their own custom hot end, don't want to, worry about all these little intricacies and programming config files, etc. Then bamboo is the one. It's a plug and play printer, but I enjoy learning what's at the heart of these printers, and I enjoy tinkering, and it is such a feeling of satisfaction when you spend all this time on a printer like this RatRig, or like the Vorons that we've been doing on this channel, and we've got more little Vorons to come, the Tri-Zeros and stuff. There's such a sense of satisfaction when we get these things going. So I picked the wrong color filament. Oh, damn. Well, if you look just slightly, I don't even have a pointer here, but if you look very carefully towards the right of that print, there is a tint of green. You can see a tint of green showing up there. So I'm not, I have it. You're left-handed and you play piano with your right hand, you play music, kind of like how music brings some people's brains back. Interesting. You find yourself wanting to get the bamboo for the AMS. Oh, you know what I can do? I keep forgetting I can do that while we're watching this. I agree, yeah. A lot of people complain about the fact that it purges a lot of filament, but that can be adjusted, et cetera, et cetera. It's it is very cool to put one of these together by hand and make, it is. It's very rewarding. I was proud, this is going to sound silly to those of you that know what you're doing, but I was kind of proud of myself this week that I actually went in and I didn't have to reach out for help on how to set up Exclude Object and KAMP. Very minor, tiny things, but I managed to get it done. The enraged rabbit carrot feeder purges a lot too. Okay, I didn't know that. I have no interest in putting an ERCF on my printers because I've got the bamboos with the MMUs, or with the yeah. So I don't have any interest in building an enraged rabbit carrot feeder at this point in time. There's another company that came out with what almost looks like a bamboo clone with an AMS, and I forget the name of the company now. I see their ads pop up on Facebook every once in a while, but it looks just like a bamboo printer, slightly different shape maybe, but it's yeah. Yeah, Dean, I've been told at the beginning of my stream that KAMP is included in the Klipper software now. Yes. And so that kind of made my stream like, oh man. That's why at the beginning of my stream, I said, well, thanks for watching. Andrew's getting an enraged rabbit carrot feeder V2 kit tomorrow. Cool. It's a lot like Ambu BMS, but the ERCF doesn't have a filament rewinder. Oh, okay. Well, how does it work then if it doesn't rewind? Interesting. Oh, that's okay, Dean. Hey, no worries at all. KAMP minus the P for purge is in Klipper. Okay, so it doesn't have the purge feature, or probably doesn't have the park feature, or whatever it's called. Sounds like I celebrated St. Patty's without you. Yeah, and all I'm drinking is Pepsi Zero or Coke Zero. No, this is Pepsi, dollar store Pepsi Zero. Yeah. There is green showing up in that print a little bit. So, hey, happy St. Patty's Day. Top of the morning to y'all. ERCF uses a buffer. Okay, which is a whole different complicated thing. Okay, that makes sense. It's not okay, Dean. $10 fine. If you're late, yeah, you get. You're going to lose me subscribers, Richard. You're converting your Ender 5 Pro into a 0G Mercury Core XY. Very cool. Tim, can you read this? Tim, can you read this? Yeah. I can read backwards actually quite easily. And you can obviously type backwards quite easily, except your question mark's the wrong way around, I hate to tell you. So, and your S is going to be backwards. Yep, you've been drinking. Oh, there we go. No. Nick says no. No, it's really interesting that you put that up there, Andrew, because I've seen this around before, but it's showing how people actually do read. It's a paragraph that the first and last letter of the word are where they should be, but all the rest of the letters in the word are mixed up, but yet you can still read it quite fluidly without having any issues. It's the way our brains interpret things. It's pretty scary things, our brains, especially mine. So, but I'm happy to have this RatRig finally in the bag. The only thing that's not working on it right now is and again, I'm still going to work with Beacon, the Beacon probe folks, is the accelerometer in the Beacon probe. I need to configure that and get that working yet. That's not such a big deal. So you can see at the very top of the screen there, that's my ADXL that I put on, and you can see on the bottom left, you can see the Beacon probe on there, which is supposed to do both jobs of probing and accelerometer radering. So accelerometer radering, and no, I haven't been drinking. Your dyslexia means you see words and things as pictures and shapes. It's how I think. I'm a mutant. There we go. Are you one of the X-Men? Is it X-Men that are the mutants? I don't remember. Everybody's brain sees things and processes things a little bit differently. Most people see words as shapes. That's interesting. Similar to using numbers for some letters can be a challenge at first. Let's see, we have 6 Twitch watchers and 20 YouTubers. Awesome. Why did I stream on Twitch, you're going to ask me? Good question. Sounds like synesthesia. I haven't been on Twitch in a long time, as those Twitchers that are out there know. And just because I don't know if there's still a rule against dual streaming on Twitch with Twitch and all that. And I really don't care. If Twitch wants to ban me, that's fine. I haven't been on Twitch in probably a year or more. But last week I got a notification that Twitch has deposited $60 into my PayPal. And it's like, I haven't done anything on Twitch. Why are you paying me? I'm not complaining. But obviously something on my Twitch account is generating a little bit of income. So I thought, okay, well, let's maybe stream on Twitch and YouTube and see if maybe I generate some more revenue on Twitch. So, oh, dual streaming rules were dropped. Oh, good, because I think they were stupid. So good to know. It's a bribe. It's a bribe. Here, Tim, here's $60. Come back to Twitch. Probably, right? Because I'd done nothing for a year on Twitch and they paid me. So home me the way to go show. I'm dead and I want to go too tired. I had me an hour about a drink ago, but it head right to my went. Oh man, the shark would eat you whole. Richard, maybe I won the Nigerian lottery. Yeah, $1 billion Nigerian dollars. That's probably what it is. Now this print is looking great, smooth. My layer lines are looking pretty decent, but I still think I need to tighten my belts a little bit. So if I don't get the, somebody's at my door. If I don't get the Tri-Zero kit, I've got to reach out this week and see if it's shipped at all or not. I'm just reading the comments. You guys are making me laugh. If I don't get the Tri-Zero kit, what I may do next week is finally get that K1 back up on the bench and put the upgrades, the upgrade kit that I received for the K1. And we'll see if we can't get the K1 to be able to produce some decent prints. I know they've come out with upgrades and they're shipping a new version, et cetera, but I still think with the kit that I got, I should be able to get this thing printing pretty good. Did you read the fine print before you took the money? I didn't have a choice. They just deposited the money. They didn't let me. Do you have a belt tensioner tool? No, I just use an Allen wrench in I just use an Allen wrench right on these screws right there. And then there's one on the other side for the other belt. Just give it about a quarter of a turn. Hey, Stephen Labad. Show me the way to go home. Boom, boom. I'm tired and I want to go to bed. Boom. Okay, I'm not going to sing that. Stupid earworm. If I turn this light out, does that light make a huge difference on this camera? What's my battery? 71% on it. Oh yeah, it makes a big difference. So let's keep the light on. It's a tool to measure belt tension. Oh no. Belt tensioner tool. No, I don't. Where do you get that? Is that a purchasable thing, or I usually just twang it with my finger and go twang, 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 twang. And if it sounds like dueling banjos from, oh man, what's the movie? Oh, if it sounds like the dueling banjos twang, I think it's good. Starkle, little twink. Who the hell you are, I think. Oh my goodness, you guys. Oh man, what was that movie? Burt Reynolds and Ned Beatty. Oh, come on, guys, help me. It's going to drive me nuts. Paddle faster, Canada. I hear banjos. Yeah. Shoot, that was a great movie. I watch it all the time whenever it's on TV. Deliverance. Thank you, Teza. Deliverance. Yes. So I twang my belts until it sounds like the dueling banjos in the movie Deliverance, and that's how I know they're tight enough. It's one of the all-time great movies. You know, they don't make movies like they used to like that anymore. So that's back when a Cannonball Run. I've seen Cannonball Run, Stephen, and I don't recall dueling banjos in Cannonball Run. They don't make movies like they used to. Back then, actors had to act. These days, how do you know it's the actor? How do you know it's not AI? Mad Max. You're just sort of pulling names out here. Mad Max was a great movie, too. What's wrong when it squeals like a pig? If it squeals like a pig, the belt's way too tight. Speaking of Mad Max, one of Mel Gibson's first movies, but does anybody know the actual name of Mel Gibson's very, very first ever movie? It's not a very popular one, but I've actually seen it, and it's an interesting movie. It's, of course, Australian because that's where he's from. But, yeah. Then you got a ham bone in it. Oh, that print is looking kind of sweet. I think my layer lines are, I think my printer is actually tuned pretty good. Can I get much closer? Oh, okay. Bounty, no. I could be wrong, but Mel Gibson's very first ever movie was called A Boy and His Dog. And I think he was just a boy. On a lot of the shows, you work on the actor's performance or tweak and post. They're tweaked. Yeah. He was 8 years old, Tessa says. Yeah, 8 years old and A Boy and His Dog. Yeah. I don't know how long this print's going to take, but we can just chat away. But this stream was just all about talking about KAMP, which kind of a moot point because it's built into Klipper now. Excuse me. But it was kind of cool. Still an interesting... it's still good to know how to go in and configure KAMP, though. But if they don't have... I'm going to go look. Let's see. What's the other options that I... Mind you, I'm not going to stop midstream. I want to finish this print. It's only 21%. It's going to take a bit, but I want to finish this stream and or finish this print, and then maybe I'll play with that purge feature. But another 45 minutes or so. Oh, that's okay. We'll let this thing go until, let's see, what's it say? It says here 39 minutes. No. ETA 7:52. So this is saying it's going to take 2 more hours, but I don't know. Maybe I can speed it up a bit. It is hard to stop midstream. Stop it, Andrew. Jeez. Oh man, okay. Let's see if I can speed this up a bit. I don't know. Let's go to 100. Let's go to 200%. See what it does. Well, it's not going to really help all that much on a print this size, this small, because we're slowing down for the infill in the inner and outer walls, etc. But we might get faster infill. Turn it up to 11. I turned it up to 10. I went 100% faster, so we're printing 200% speed now. But boy, it looks great. I love that filament. Oh, just about fell off my stool. So what we'll do is we'll go till 7 o'clock or until there are less than 10 viewers left on the stream. How's that? But we have 24 right now, which is great. And I think 20 of those are still on. Oh, 22. We've only got 2 on Twitch. So we've lost our Twitchers. Varicolor filament. Yes, Teza, this is filament we are printing is Polymaker. Proud partner of DWIT3D, Polymaker. It is Polymaker Albergene Silk Lime Magenta. PLA, Polylite. I almost fell off my stool, St. Patty's motto. You weren't supposed to hear that. You weren't supposed to hear me say that. So I've got the other beacon probe left over here that we took off of the RatRig because we put the Rev H on there. which, you know, in hindsight, I really shouldn't have, but I wanted to see how it worked. But so we have the other beacon probe here, which we are going to eventually, you can see it on my top left screen there. We're going to eventually put that on the, actually, let's move this over and you can see me a little bigger because I need more screen space. There we go. So we're going to put this guy eventually on the Voron 2.4. We're going to do some mods to the 2.4, including put this on it. And we're also going to put some Ramus idlers on it, on the front idlers. And then also probably upgrade the hot end to the new, oh man, I can't remember the name of it. The newest and the greatest hot end on the Vorons. 3D printing and bad jokes, very bad jokes. Summer City was his first Aussie movie. Summer City was, okay, his debut acting was on a soapy called Sullivan's. Really? Was that before A Boy and His Dog at 8 years old? Interesting. Andrew, I just read your comment. The dung beetle. So I can take this camera out of my way. Let's just move this out of the way. I'm going to try and repurpose this. I have a feeling that I want to limit myself to the 3 cameras. And, oh no, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's going to be plenty. It is taxing on the computer when you have multiple cameras going at once. So just for anybody joining, this is what we're printing, except not quite as big. Hello, Cali Dragon. Can't put them in there. Hang on, maybe I can. You don't need to see my fans. There we go. We got a Cali Dragon watching a Cali Dragon get printed. It wouldn't seem as bad. I have a rim shot. I need to get some sound effects or music or something on my stream, but eventually I will. I have this. Oh, look, our stream's going to start in 5 minutes. Look at that. How do I get rid of that? Oh, there. Got a resin. No, I don't. I do not have a resin printer. I got resin printers at one time. I found them too messy and too messy. A fancy button thingy. You mean a Stream Deck? I do have a Stream Deck, Richard McLean. Yeah, where I can do stuff like overlays and stuff. But I guess I got to learn how to put sound effects and stuff on it. I think Tim is going to have to read through the transcript from the last chat, but if he does, he might not let us on stream anymore. Am I missing something? Like I probably am. Brent, that tells me that I'm missing stuff. Oh, I didn't even see Sergio leave. Sorry, Sergio, if you watch this back. Bye. I'm terrible. I'm a terrible host. Yeah, Stream Deck. And I have, right now I have, the buttons I have programmed in the Stream Deck are 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's the camera I just took down. So, I mean, it is live because if I move my little Lazy Susan, you can see it. And then 5, this one. And then I have my display, which is that funky one. And then I have the quad view. Well, that's a good view to leave on here too. But that floor camera's got to go on that quad view. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 free buttons on the main screen. So I have 7 buttons I can do something with on this Stream Deck. So I can do sound effects like a that button's kind of useless. I'm doing great. I'm trying to stay on topic. You're a little off the rails. Okay, good, good. I am trying my best to stay on topic. Never seen one make a hit. Never seen one. You miss everything, Tim. I do. I'm all over the place here. Actually, the bottom left one, in this case, what I should do in this one, get rid of the floor cam, add in, it's fun playing with these things. So if I add in Instalink, this one, boom, and shrink it down. There we go. That way we have 4 active cameras on here. Oh, that's the same as the top right one, though. That's kind of stupid. Okay, forget that. Okay, let's get rid of that one then. We don't need that. Okay, so we still have that boring floor cam. Which camera don't I have? Oh, you know which camera I don't have on there? If I add the overhead, this one, there we go. Ah, that way you got me from all angles. 5-minute recess button. There you go. That's a good idea, Richard. What we do with 3D printers be called plastic bending, the 5th element? Yes. Yes. A 5-minute recess button. We've covered everything from St. Patty's to snotty nozzles. I still like the name snotty nozzles. I still like that. Dad jokes, drinking habits, bad Disney puns, and much, much more. Yes, we have. Snotty nozzle plastic bending at its best. Okay, and then the overhead. Look at that. That overhead's got to be lightened up a bit. It's not that bright. Let's see. If I go into the camera's controls, watch me crash my PC while opening this. Okay, there we go. Image. Auto exposure on. Ah, that's a little better with auto exposure. Lightens it up a little bit. Okay. I forgot about the overhead cam. Anybody got a garage band that needs a name? They just need to contact us. You got that right, Brett. 5-minute penalty box. Wonder if I could put this on. Oh, see, oh, that's tied to that camera. Oh, okay. So if that's tied to that camera, okay, interesting. I got to play with OBS a little bit more. I don't got to, but you know. OBS. I don't know how you come up with these things so quick. Okay. Here, let's see how loud this printer is. I have this cool little tool. I have a cool little tool. Hello, testing 1, 2, 3. And it's a decibel meter. So right now, just sitting where I am, without talking, if I shut up, we are at, oops, 45 decibels. Cool little tool in red underpants, another great concert. You don't forget anything, do you, Richard? So I want to see how loud we are at the hot end. Let's just see. Only 62 decibels. It's not bad. Not a very loud printer. The loudest part on that is the fan, obviously. So, does this have a... Why are you following my face? Did I tell you to follow my face? Stop following me. I think that's the symbol. Stop. Nope. This one. Oh, hand gestures don't work. You don't forget anything. It's a blessing and a curse, I bet. Tim's talking into the decibel meter. I guess he's doing lead vocals for the Snotty Nozzles. What's the song in it where they say something about the decibel meter seems to be reading low? There's an actual song, dang, where they talk about decibel meter. That decibel meter doesn't seem to be reading low. Oh man, that's going to bug me again now. Trivia for everybody. Anyways. I missed what? What did I miss, Teza? He's got to set his obvious bullshit driver. What? Oh man, I don't miss anything, but sometimes I just don't get it. Why isn't this camera? Okay, so we don't need the overhead. Hang on. OBS. No, I didn't miss that one. Oh, OBS driver. See, that just went over my head. Not that I missed it. It went over my head. I do have one more, which is the bench cam. Wrong one. That one, yeah. Guilty. Ah, Richard McLean, you got, oh, look at that. Rock show. Obviously, you know your music because that is not an easy, that is, number one, that song is not a mainstream song. But it is, if I'm not mistaken, it's from the album Venus and Mars. It's a great album and a great song, but that is exactly the song that it was in. Thank you for discovering that. I would have never thought of that off the top of my head. All I know is I know the lyric. Google FU is excellent. Google Foo. Rock show at the concert cabal. They got long hair. You Googled it. Oh yeah, Venus and Mars is a great. If you like the Wings, Venus and Mars is a great album. especially the song Magneto and Titanium Man. And oh man, it's good. If you like rock music, that's it. But that's old stuff. That's old school stuff. So okay, enough of that face. You know, Rich, you had the opportunity there to sound like a really, really well-versed music person. So you thought about using Google, then you thought someone else will. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Just like I knew it, but I couldn't put my finger exactly on it. I could hear it in my head. There's certain, I mean, certain words, lyrics, and songs that you only hear in certain songs that they don't get used. It's not old stuff. It's pronounced good stuff. Yes, Brent, that's true. Because that's back again, just like the movies. That's back when singers actually had to sing. They didn't have auto tune. Yeah. You actually take pride in your Google ability. You're not knowing squat about music. I know a little about a lot. You know just enough about everything to make it dangerous, right? 3 Twitchers, 20 YouTubers. You are watching a Cali Dragon being printed and watched by a Cali Dragon. Never really got into the Beatles. They were a girls' what? Doors, Deep Purple, Moody Blues, etc. A girls' band? Really? I don't know if I agree with. I don't know. They were overrated they were overrated in their time. I will agree, but now I think that they did have a huge impact on music as it is today. You're back in the days when you had the Beatles, and Elton John, and people like that really made influence on the music today. But the problem with the music today is that most of the singers that are popular today can't really sing because there's so much stuff that goes on behind the scenes and post production that we just don't know. We don't know if it's actually the auto tune thing in singing, but that's been around forever. But who knows how much AI is being used in music production these days too. Oh, I can agree to disagree on everything for sure. I like some Beatles music. I don't like all Beatles music. B tracks and rare tracks on albums I kind of like. It is a 0.4 millimeter layer height, Sebastian. The music, honestly, not the best. No, we do like their music, but admittedly, no. But I will say, post Beatles, Paul McCartney and Wings, he wrote some great songs. John Lennon, he died too young, but John Lennon, his album, what was that? Double Fantasy album. He had some great songs on that album. They were amazing songwriters, Lennon and McCartney, but a lot of their better stuff came later in their careers with the Beatles, and then when they split up and went their solo ways, they wrote some good stuff. So that makes sense, Brent. Yeah. Yeah, because Lennon McCartney wrote some great stuff. Again, later Beatle days and post Beatle days, but Ringo Starr, he had a few. I think the only reason he had a few hits after the Beatles was because he was a Beatle. if he came along on his own solo without being part of the Beatles group, I don't think he would have been as popular as he was. Same with George Harrison. So George Harrison's claim to fame after the Beatles was the song My Sweet Lord. And I think that was the only one. Yep. I agree, Tessa. Yep. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of Beethoven. I like listening to oh gosh. They did one called The Four Seasons. Vivaldi, I believe they're called. I like a little bit of classical music every once in a while. Look at that, Andrew. You said that at the same time. Vivaldi. Yeah, I like some classical music. I'm not a fan of Beethoven classical. Vivaldi I like, and there's a few other ones. There's a Vivaldi is used in a few of these nature sound audio cassettes. Ben Gibson, I think, was one of them, and he did some nature stuff with Vivaldi in the background. It was beautiful stuff. I heard these kids arguing the other day that in line for coffee, they were comparing Ringo to all these other drummers. He's not even in my top 100. No. Vivaldi and Chopin. Chopin or Chopin. Ludwig van Beethoven. You're a fan. There you go. This is certainly a different live stream for me. I know, watching a print go and just chatting, but this is good. This is refreshing in a sense. So this is the finish of the RatRig series for sure. We've built this thing. We've built the RatRig and talked about it to death, and it's finally printing decently. I think this print looks great so far, and yeah, so we will definitely move on to something a little more interesting next week. So as I say, if we don't get the Tri-Zero kit in, we will go ahead and we'll bring the K1 back on the bench, and we will do the upgrade to the K1, which could be interesting because I've never taken that hot end apart and nothing. Classic rock, progressive rock. I'm a fan of most kinds of music. I can even tolerate the odd country music as far as the genre goes. I'm not a fan of rap, although there are a few rap songs that I kind of enjoy. So, yeah, but I'm not a fan of the modern. Oh, I don't know. I can't even think of any of the artists' names now, mind you. I'm a 70s kind of guy. So, oh, thanks, Brent. I appreciate it. I ask people a question. If you had to, for the rest of your life, listen to one decade only, like 60s, 70s, 80s, blah, blah, blah. If you had to choose one to listen to the rest of your life, what would it be? And I've always said the 70s. I think the 70s has some amazing music. It brought out some amazing artists and bands, and really, really, really good. I think it was just the era of music, period. Stephen Poole says he's into classic rock. Yeah. 70s, hands down. 70s, yeah. And you can tell, the age range that we're all in on here, because 70s, I think, is You can't beat it. Not that the other 70s and 80s, Stephen Poole says, yeah, not that the other decades didn't have good music. They did. Even now, there's some good music coming out of it. But the 70s was real music, number one. You know, 70s, 30s, and 50s doo-wop. Okay. 80s and 90s, Andrew says, new age. And you were born in the 70s, so it's a little before me, but still the best music. Yeah, I like some 60s stuff. It's funny that the oldies music station when I was a kid was music from the 70s and 60s. Music from my teens is old now. Yeah. Yes. All-time favorite band. Oh, man. Whew. That is not easy to come up with, Snapshot. Kansas. You know, I saw Kansas live on a cruise ship. The lead singer had gone deaf. It was still a fun concert to watch, but his voice was terrible. But, you know, in his day, they were a great group. The women in the 70s music are the best, yeah. Olivia Newton-John came from the 70s, and Pat Benatar, and, you know, 30s and 40s blues. Yeah. Yeah, I have a picture somewhere of me with the Kansas band. It was pretty cool. The Righteous Brothers. Righteous Brothers were good. I like a lot of Manfred Mann. They did some good stuff. Stephen Poole, all-time Bob Seger, AC/DC, Metallica, Pink Floyd, Aerosmith, Black Sabbath, Ozzy. Yeah. Those are all the big rockers. Bob Seger, I loved. Silver Bullet Band, he was great. The Eagles were good. I'm not a huge fan of the Eagles, but yeah, they produced some really good music. Great female singers in the 40s. Yeah. B.B. King, Stevie Ray Vaughan. Elton John, I think, was great. And Queen. I love Queen's music. If you haven't seen the movies about Elton John, which I think was called Rocket Man, and Queen, which was called, I forget the name of the Queen movie, but those are great movies. Great movies. Meatloaf, yes. Meatloaf, although he only had really one, you know, he only really had the one good album. Bat Out of Hell was a great album, and then the second one, which was called something about the Bat Out of Hell 2 or something, it was okay. It only had a couple good songs, but that one, his first album, and is probably his most famous, was excellent. Yeah. Meatloaf is great. He was talented. Aretha. Bohemian Rhapsody was the Queen movie. Okay, yeah, great. I love that movie. I don't know how accurate those movies are, but I love the way they were depicted. I love the way that the song Bohemian Rhapsody was neglected or rejected for so long, and he insisted it be done, and look at the hit it was. Chain, chain, chain. Chain of Fools. Yep. Aretha had a great voice. My wife, Maria, she loves, her all-time favorite singer is Whitney Houston. Whitney had a great voice. She had a really good voice too, though. Those notes she could hit. Whew. The old Blues Brothers movies, yeah. I met Dan Aykroyd once. He's Canadian. He has a lake house up in Ontario, north of Kingston on Lowborough Lake. where my brother lives. I met him one day years ago. I met him. My brother introduced me to him. My brother's done some work for him, but that's like his little getaway place. He is shorter, much shorter in person than I ever thought he was. So just made me think of that when you mentioned Blues Brothers. That's real singing. Unreachable octaves and long holds. Oh, you mean me? Yeah, I could have been a singer, but I'm too shy. There's just so many bands that have come along that it's so hard to pick it's really difficult. I couldn't pick a favorite. I really couldn't. This is the song Ain't No Way When You Think You've Heard Most Miraculous Notes. Aretha could hit. You're about 40 seconds from where she really nails it. But I think the reason the 70s impact me so much is because, born in 62, and then by the time the 70s came along, that's when I sort of started appreciating and listening to music, of course, because that's when majority of my growing up and teen years were, right? So the 70s was really, really, I guess, impactful to me as far as music. Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, love their stuff, So you're saying you're not a Swift, Tim. I'm not a Swift. I'm not a Swiftie. No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Johnny Famham, one of Australia's greatest singers. He can sing anything. I've never heard of him. Aretha Franklin, Stevie Nicks. Again, Stevie Nicks, Fleetwood Mac. There's just so many. Snapshot, born in 63. You're just a youngin'. No, I'm kidding. Yep. I even like Johnny Cash. Some of Johnny Cash's music. Does he have a voice? I don't know, but whatever he did right, and just the way that he brings music across. Like there's a song called One Piece at a Time. I think it's what it's called, or something like that. And it's not popular, but it's great. He could sing. He really could sing. He did a cover of Help that outsold the Beatles. Yeah, there we go. Johnny Farnham. Johnny Farnham. Have to look that up. Yes, exactly, Richard. It was his style. You know what? His style too. Just like you guys might not have heard of him because he's Canadian and he didn't really make it worldwide, I don't think. But Stompin' Tom Connors, he died recently, and it was his style more than his voice. So, yeah. And this is going to raise some feathers, but it is one of the greatest singers that people think is the greatest singers, Bob Dylan. I can't stand his voice. I don't think he can hold a note. So I'm not a fan of Bob Dylan. I think he's too nasally and Bob Dylan rubs me the wrong way. And Prince, I can't stand Prince. But they're both very popular, very famous. They impacted music, but so everybody has their own tastes, right? So Hurt was just awesome. Yeah. But no, I'm not a fan of Bob Dylan. Well, there's one song of Bob Dylan's I like. That's it. Yeah, exactly. Bob Dylan wrote some great songs like Four Strong Winds. I can't even think of some of them, but one Bob Dylan song I do like was called Knocking on Heaven's Door. And the only reason I like that song and it impacts me is because it was a song that was playing when I was on my way up to my mom's funeral. And the song was it hit home so much as to what was going on in my life at that time. And so that song, I love that song, and I will listen to that song, but that's it for Bob Dylan. Yeah. Someone needs to rewrite One Piece at a Time from a song about a Cadillac to How I Put My Last Voice. Brent, that's a great idea. If you guys haven't heard One Piece at a Time, it's a great fun song by Johnny Cash. Mock country music, not John Denver, by holding his nose and singing. What's this one say? Someone needs to rewrite One Piece. Oh, that one. Yeah. Bob Dylan was a poet who also was a singer. Most are singers who dabble in poetry. There we go. It's just like Willie Nelson. I mean, can't sing as far as I'm concerned. Not a good singer, but he's a good entertainer. But you mentioned here, John Denver was one of my favorite singers of all time. I have everything he's ever done. So again, I've had people these days make fun of me saying, "Oh, you like John Denver, blah blah blah." But you look at the number of albums he made and the number of albums he sold. He died too young again in that plane crash. So. But I have everything he's ever done. I'm actually, if you have the Wildlife Concert DVD series, I am listed on the Wildlife Concert DVD series because I ran the Canadian fan club for a while. So it was called Cold Nights in Canada, and it's listed as Cold Nights in Canada with my name and everything on the DVD. It's kind of cool. But yeah, he died too young. Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, awesome Willie song. Maybe I could have loved you. That's not a bad song. You were always on my mind. Even though it was country. Yeah, if you were a big fan of John Denver and you dwelled into it, he experimented a lot with air quotes here, quote unquote rock and stuff. And he had a little bit of crossover with country and some blues and stuff, but for the most part, he was pretty good. And then his very last album that he did before he died was a children's album called, I forget what it was called now, but I remember RCA sent me box full of DVDs and a box full of tapes to sort of give away and promote that last album. It was kind of fun. Yeah. Calypso's a great song. My favorite album of his is going to have to be an album called JD. If you haven't heard it, look it up, but it's pretty good. You can get all of his stuff's available on iTunes now anyways. So, but the album JD and some really good songs on there. So I of course, all the, your typical Take Me Home Country Roads, Annie's Song, Rocky Mountain High, Poems, Prayers, and Promises, yada, yada. Those are all, the ones that people know. But when you're a true fan and you listen to every song, he's got some incredible music. And then, let's see, Willie Nelson is acquired taste. Yeah, exactly. Do not go to see him. Completely lost his voice, but his son sounds like him. Interesting. That's backing up as far as do not go to see him. Completely lost his voice. That's sort of like with Kansas, the band Kansas, when I saw them on a cruise. Loved the band was good. The song was good. It was nice to listen to their music, but their lead singer, he had gone deaf, from what I understood, and his voice was terrible. I actually have some videos on my phone actually right here of the concert that I was at. And it was nice to hear the songs, but yeah, he lost his voice, but in their day, they were great. Jim Croce, John Denver type. Yeah. Hey, Makermind Nexus. Hey, Dan. How are you, sir? We were just having more of a chit-chat session tonight while we were doing the final video viewing of the RatRig printing a Cali Dragon being watched by a Cali Dragon. U2. I'm not a fan of U2. I am not a fan of U2 at all. I'm sorry. See if I can look this up really quick, just because I forget who said they like Kansas, but you might find this interesting. You might find this interesting if I can find it while we're on our last legs here. Where's my videos? Doop, doop. Pretty sure it's handy here. It was a while ago. Do. Well, maybe I don't have them on my phone. They're on my YouTube channel, though, or on my Facebook page. Oh, yeah, no, here it is. Hang on. No, that's not it. Roger Whittaker. Oh, Roger Whittaker, right. Oops. Yeah, I've heard of Roger Whittaker for sure. Absolutely. Joel's going to be, Joel's streaming tonight? Okay. Well, I'm going to be done in about 10 minutes, so that's actually perfect timing. Kansas concert on your YouTube channel. Ah, there we go. Oh, that was you, Snapshot. Okay. Oh, I just got notification something about Neil Young. Neil Young's another Canadian singer that not a big fan of Neil Young. I think he's Canadian. Yeah, I don't have I thought I had the Kansas concert on here. Oh, maybe is this it? What's this one? Oh no, that's not Kansas. Nope. Anyways, it was a cruise we went on, and we got VIP passes to Canada, so we got backstage and all that stuff. Neil Diamond. Oh yeah, of course, Neil Diamond. I mean, come on. He was back in the day of John Denver as well. .3D Experiments. What is up? Just stopping by to say hello. Thank you for stopping by to say hello. I appreciate that. There is a lot of good music around. Creedence. So CCR. Yes. Yeah, I like CCR. You died happy had you been there, yeah. Especially on a cruise ship, right? Because there's not a bad seat in the house. Well, Mr. Cali Dragon's tail is looking pretty good. A little bit of stringing happening there, but hey. That viewership will go down, and it's actually gone up. We have 28 people watching, 24 on YouTube and 4 on the Twitters. Let's move this down a little bit. Oh, it's going to give me focusing issues, isn't it? Yeah, you are. You nasty little thing. Unless here, let me try something. Oh, I can't raise you up. You're up as high as you can go. You raise me up. If I raise you up a little bit and then I point you down more. You guys getting seasick yet? There we go. Can't pick in the 80s. There we go. It's looking pretty good. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you guys. No, very cool. Okay, we are coming towards the end. I'm not going to, obviously this print's not going to finish on this stream because we are close to 7 o'clock. And according to the Klipper, there is still another hour left on this print. Mind you, I did run it. I think I've got this at a 200% scale for the Cali Dragon. So it's a little bigger than normally it should be, but I wanted to extenuate its beauty. Anyone into drums? Try Iron Butterflies. Inagata Navita. Inagata Navita. Yep. In every decade. I agree. Haha. Holy crap. 10-minute drum solo. Interesting. I know that supposedly I wasn't a big follower of his, but Genesis, what's his name, was supposedly a really good drummer. See, I'm having a brain fart right now, but you guys know who I mean. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Phil Collins. What am I talking? Phil Collins, of course, supposed to be. I'm not a big. I don't follow drummers a lot, but Phil Collins is supposed to be a really good drummer. I like the little I can feel it coming in the air tonight, whatever that song's called. I like the little doo 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 boop boop drum solo that goes on in that one. That was pretty cool. Neil Peart, part of Rush. Rush is a Canadian band. Cool. Let's look up something here real quick. Oh, Brent. Oh, okay. That's Brent. That's too funny. That's way too funny because I was just looking it up. Hang on, I'm going to share this. I hope that you can hear it. I don't know. Ready? Here we go. Here, let me make that full screen. That's priceless. Okay, that's funny that you said that because I was looking that up as you did that. There's no sound. Oh, you're kidding. Oh, I don't know how to get that sound to come on. It must mute me when I did something like that. Oh, okay. Well, you look it up. Just Google "Deer Stumbles to Phil Collins" on YouTube, and it's actually quite funny. It's actually quite funny. I like the color of that filament. It's got it's burgundy and actually magenta. It's magenta and silk lime. So it's lime and magenta, but it's got some beautiful gold undertones and it's beautiful. Beautiful filament. Yeah, I don't know how to get I think the my settings kind of mutes the sound for me when I do that. So I think that's why you guys couldn't hear anything. My apologies on that. My sincerest and most humble apologies for sure. And there we go. Now you're not going to move around so much. That other camera. Well, you're at 7 o'clock, guys. I am going to thank you, everybody, for the conversation. It was great tonight. It was just a different kind of stream tonight. So, and it's kind of like a get to know you type stream, I suppose, while we were watching this guy print. So I'm going to let this continue. I think that's going to be pretty good looking when it's done. It's looking very smooth. I love that filament. So anyways, that's that. Only one drummer that could play that solo. Good to see you too, Dan. Yeah, it's great. It's awesome. But thank you guys, everybody. So as I say, if we don't get the Tri-Zero in, which I don't think we will, I'm going to find out when it's going to show up. If we don't get the Tri-Zero in this week to start next week, you too, Dan, take care. We will work on the K1 next week, and we'll do the upgrade to the Creality K1 and see if we can't get it printing decently. So everybody have a wonderful week. Thank you for all the chat. It was great. It was a fun night. I think it was just different but fun. And I really enjoyed it, and I want to thank everybody for being here. So we'll catch everybody next Sunday, same time, same place, and different printer. So talk to you guys later. Bye for now.